Filming. All right, here we go. Today we're talking about finding the quadratic from the roots. When I'm talking about the roots, we're talking about these x-intercepts. So if we have some kind of parabola, we're going to just be given the x-intercepts and one other point. And from that, we're going to be able to figure out the quadratic. Okay, I'm going to try to make an activity to practice this later in the week. But for now, we got to learn just kind of the nitty-gritty of this. Okay, we're jumping back to this section, but I'm going to try to just kind of go through these sections, combining a lot of topics so we don't have, I think it's going to be a better way to teach this. So I'm just having that in mind here, just so you know. All right. So remember this, we had all the three different kinds of quadratics, so three different forms. One of them was factored form when we get it like so. And that's when, remember, we were talking about FOIL. We were doing FOIL, first, outer, inner, last, to get back to standard form. But really, we're going to be focusing on factored form right now, because once we get to this, we can go to the other forms pretty easy. All right? This is old. I want you to tell me, when given factored form, right, find, this is old. When we were given the factored form, we'd find the x values. And what are the x values equal to? Yes.
X-intercepts.
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 X-intercepts. Okay, so factored form, it allows us to find the x-intercepts, maybe -3 and 4. You know, we have just a couple x-intercepts here, and then we'd have some kind of point that we're going to be given. You're going to be given that point, and from that, we can find the parabola. Okay, that's kind of like going backwards. So this is what we did before. This is what we did before when we're given this quadratic. First, we set it equal to 0. And then what did we do with each of these? Do you remember? What did we do? Because what we're asking again is, when do these two things, when they're multiplied together, give me 0? One of them has to be what? In order to get 0, one of them has to be what? No, not the inverse.
Negative.
Well, a negative might not do it, actually. A certain kind of negative might do it. But think of it like this. If I have 0 is equal to 8 times something, right? What does that have to be in order for me to multiply it together with 8 and give me 0? 0. Is that pretty straightforward like that? Okay, so that's the key thing. If you didn't quite get where I was going first, one of these has to be equal to 0. If this is, say, -4, this part's equal to 0. And then 0 times anything will give me my 0. So all we had to do before, remember we did this. We had x plus 4, we made it equal to 0. See when that happens? X is -4. Go ahead and do it for the one on the right. This is really straightforward. If it seems too easy, it's because we've done it before. Remember that. Remember that. Okay? No way on this? We're doing this one right here. Okay. So we make it equal to 0. We solve for it. We get that root. So what am I going to do for the right side? Anybody want to walk me through that? What did I do with x minus 2, that expression? What should I do? Any volunteers? Yeah. It is funny.
Get rid of the 2.
How would we get rid of the 2? First, we're going to make it equal to
Add
0.
2.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
You were in the future. Now we are caught up with you. Right? Good. Solid. Okay. Who feels good about that process like that? We've seen that before? Good. A lot of hands up, thumbs up. Okay. We just want to see when one of these is equal to 0, so we make it equal to 0. Let's see when that happens. Okay. -4 for x, we put -4 plus 4, that's 0. Anything times the 0 gives us the 0. So we did it this way to find the roots from this. Now we have to go the opposite direction. We have to go the opposite direction. This is new. We're going to find the factored form, this factored form, from the x values and 1 point. 1 point. So if you think about it, if this is, I want you to imagine this. Say that, you have one of those, has anybody ever shot those balloon launchers that have the big elastic bands and you shoot it really far? You seen those? All right, well, assuming that wind resistance and nothing was really messing with it, and they were like very round balloons, you'd shoot it here, and say if somebody's standing right over here, You could fill in whoever you want to hit with the water balloon. Anybody have somebody? Let's hit, never mind. All right, so if I want to shoot it and hit him, right? One thing we can do is, all right, yeah, you better go. If we knew that this guy was 30 feet away, all right? If I know another point, so say if I had a hoop right here, and I had to just shoot the balloon through the hoop, and this hoop, if I go right through the middle of it, that's at, say, 1,4, we'd be able to figure out by the x-intercepts, 0 and 30 right here, and the height of this point here, we'd be able to figure out that parabola. So this is how, you know, anything, pumpkin launchers, anything that launches, this is how they figure out the math behind it. Because if you have one point involved, you can find the equation. From the equation, then it's pretty easy to change it up if you want this guy to be hit right here instead. Then you're going to hit it different. There's a game that had that. I'm just having a
Angry
80s
Birds.
flashback.
Angry Birds.
Angry Birds is like that. Angry Birds. Okay. So Angry Birds is. I gotta
I
start
remember
with
those
that.
days.
I was thinking of an 80s game I used to play, but it's just like Angry Birds because you launch it, right? It's
Yeah.
always a parabola. It's always a parabola, right?
Yeah.
And if you wanted to hit something closer, do you increase the angle or do you go lower? Do you want to hit something closer? So
We go lower.
right? If I wanted it to go farther,
Yeah.
I'd maybe make it a little lower, and it would go further. If I wanted to hit something right in front of me, I'd have to shoot it what? Almost straight up, right? Okay. So that entire game is based on factored form. Behind the scenes, it's all the computer just working out the factored form and the angles. Yeah?
Are you thinking of Scorched Earth? That's
Whoa.
what I did. Where you have a bunch of little tanks and you move along the land and you try and shoot each other?
Yeah!
Yeah.
You guys remember that too?
Yeah, that's from an old MS-DOS game, yeah.
Yeah, yes. Okay. Flashback. MS-DOS, run, comma 1, comma 2. All that stuff. Sorry, Commodore 64 here. Oh. All right. Thanks for the reminder. Angry Birds, Scorched Earth. So basically what we're going to do, again, bringing it back, we're going to have the factored form, or find the factored form from those x values. And really, don't get intimidated by this. We're going to have to plug stuff in, but then it ends up being just like 3 minus 1, 2 minus 2. Okay? It's not going to be something where we need to have a huge intimidation factor for it. So most of the math is that. Get intimidated. All right. So let's go ahead. We're going to do these as a group. Oh. Well. All right. Example number 1. Let's do this one together. We'll do step by step. Step by step. Number 1. Input roots into factored form. Okay. So my roots are just my x-intercepts, my x values. Okay. So I have a root of 1, a root of 4, and I have my point 2, 3. Okay. First off, let's look at the point. 2 is what value? The x or the y? 2. X. Just like the alphabet, it goes in order. X, Y. Right. So these, it doesn't matter which one you put where. These P and Q values, that's where these are going to go. So I'll just put them wherever I want. You just have to put 1 in each of them. So everybody go ahead and rewrite this equation. A is what we're going to have to find. This is really what we want to find eventually. But I want you to put in all those values that you can. So we're just rewriting it. I'll let you know A is something we're going to look for, so that's going to be out front to start. Okay, so go ahead and just put in those roots. What's my key here? What's my key? The key? Parentheses. 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 All right. So the reason I want you to use parentheses is because sometimes we're going to have positive and negatives and we're going to have to deal with them really astutely. Okay, so what should I put in here? 1. What should I put in here?
4.
Okay. Everybody so far so good? Watch your intimidation factor. If you start to get intimidated, promise this isn't going to be as bad as you think. Okay. The next step is I'll go ahead and just rewrite this so that it's a little bit refined. X minus 4. So if I had some negatives in there, I would have the parentheses that would help me make sure I get the sign correct. All right. Let's see. Step 2, input the point x and y. So we're going to put in, remember that f of x, I'll even rewrite it. That's function notation, but f of x is AKA, it's the y value. So go ahead and input your x values. X is 2, input it where the x's are. The y value is 3, go and put it where the y is. And quickly you'll see that we almost end up with no variables left. We have one variable left. Okay, not sure where to go. 3 for the y. I'll start you out. See what I'm doing? Yeah. Okay, finish it up. We know we have -1, we have -4. What's going to go out there in front?
2.
2. Right?
Yeah.
You see, intimidation factor is probably high to start, but now all we have to do is be careful with parentheses. Put in your x values, then put in your y and your x's here. Okay, so first step, put in your roots. Next step, plug in the point. Watch this. What's 2 minus 1? 1. What's 2 minus 4? -2. What are we looking for? What's here that's unknown? A. A is what we don't know. Once we have A, we can put it back in here and have our final formula done. Okay, so let's see, 3 is equal to, this is -2A. I just switched it all around since they're all multiplied. Put the coefficient first. All right. Who has the last step for us?
Rewrite.
Divide by what?
Well, no.
Yes. Why would we do -2? Who wants to follow up on that? Jay?
So A can be myself.
Good. And if we just divide it by 2, it would be -A. We want to get rid of everything up front, so let's go and do -2. Now what's going to happen here? Because -2 over -2 is equal to 1. Okay, gone. A is equal to -3/2. All right, so we have our A, we know our x values, and we have our factored form. So what's the last step? Rewrite in factored form. So let me just bring everything together here. We have the factored form. What's my A value? We just figured it out. -3/2. And then really, I can just kind of go back and review this step right here because I've already inputted the roots. I don't have to do this step again. So look to see where you've inputted the roots and you've simplified it here. This is key. Look here. And then I just have to rewrite that. X minus 1, X minus 4. Done. Done. Right? Sometimes when things work out smooth like this, it just, I don't know if you ever have this feeling with math, but it's just like, when it clicks, I mean, it feels good when it clicks, because you know for sure you got it right. Maybe it just, I don't know, maybe I feel that click. You know what I'm saying? Because, you do. Okay, good. So like, English or social studies or all these classes you have, there's no certainty. You can't know for sure you got it right. You know what I mean? You can be pretty sure, but there's interpretation. One thing with math that is kind of nice is you know for sure. When they launched the Falcon Heavy and it's going to Mars, they know where it's going to land. Something about that is kind of it's
Great.
crazy, amazing. Yeah. All right, let's do this one. In fact, I'm going to get you started, and then I want you to work this all the way out, and we'll check with neighbors. X minus Q. All right, we have our X. We have the other X. and we have the point. So go ahead. I'm going to remind you, we're going to make sure we put parentheses for those values. And they call it P and Q just because that's, you have to delineate what's what. All right, so I'll give you all a minute to, well, not to do this step. Should we do one step at a time? Or do you want to try to work through most of this?
One step.
One step? Okay. Just this step then. Careful. Careful where I circled there. Make sure. And if you're not sure, think about that. Why did I circle that? Why should we be careful with that X term? You know, hold your breath. And then we have a breath holding contest here. 3 kids. Okay. All right. How about someone new that hasn't? Actually, no. Check with your neighbor. Check with your neighbor. Just 10 seconds. See if you're on the right track with each other. Together, and in this class, we know everything. We know everything.
You good? Yeah. It's tomorrow?
Yeah.
You talking about tomorrow? Yeah. Oh, yes.
Plug it in. Just gotta do.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which one goes where. Just got to make sure those parentheses are going to help us get those signs right. Okay, who wants to tell me what to do here? Question?
Let's just all in and all.
Oh, after the step you want to ask it? Okay. Hey, Blake, what should I put in here and here?
In there you should put 5 in the first one and -1 in the second one.
Okay. Question, one sec. Question. So it doesn't matter if I put the 5 here or the -1 here?
No.
Or the -1 and the 5 or 5 and -1? It doesn't, right? 2 times 3 or 3 times 2 equals 6. Doesn't matter what goes first with multiplication.
The community.
Commutative property, great. Doesn't matter who's in line first, you're going the same job. Commuting. What else were you going to bring up?
What?
What else were you going to comment on this, or can you help me simplify this a little bit?
Yeah, it would become f of x equals a x in parentheses x minus 5, closing parentheses, opening parentheses, x plus 1.
Okay.
Because the two negatives cancel out each other.
Perfect. That's a key. That's why I said parentheses, parentheses, parentheses. Okay, that's a key. All right. The other thing is, too, we can also express this writing it f of x equal to a times the quantity x minus 5 times the quantity x plus 1. Just so it makes it a little easier to say. All right. Melissa, question follow-up? Solved? Got it? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and do the next step. Input your x and your y value. I'll give you guys a minute for this. No. 30 seconds. Just put them in there. Put them in there. We'll work it out from there. I'm thinking a lot of you already did this, right? Okay, did this? Yes.
Sorry about it.
Yes, go quick. All right, so a lot of you folks already did it. Somebody new, tell me what to do.
That rhyme.
Quick box. Anybody else? Yes.
The f of x is a 1.
Is it 1 because this is my y value?
Yeah.
1 is equal to a, go and finish it up.
0 subtract 5.
Yeah.
And 0 plus 1.
We put in our x and our y, what's left over to find? How hard is that going to be? Not very hard. Not intimidating. Let's go ahead and just bring this. All right. Do the last steps. Find A. Find A. Go ahead and solve that out. Remember, you're isolating A. You can, well, that's pretty easy. -5 times 1. I'll even rewrite that. There we go. -5A. All right. Solve it out. Rewrite that. Okay. Want me to come check it out? Always do it. So to change it to possible. All right, somebody lead me through it. What's next? Yes.
You have to get rid of 5.
5?
Or the negative, right?
There you go. So we're going to go ahead and divide by?
-5.
All right, so we got A is -1/5. All we have to do last, step 4.
Rewrite in factor 4.
Rewrite. What goes in for A?
-1/5.
Good. And then where should I look as far as which line should I look at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you say? 1, 2, 3.
Line 2.
Line 2 right here.
No. Line 3.
Line 3.
Wait.
We're gonna.
Okay. Yeah.
The reason I point to 3 is that's where we've already inputted our x values and we've already dealt with that negative and negative. You just don't want to have to go back up here and then have to do it again. So when you're looking at what to put in your final answer, just look to the point where you were ready to plug in your point. So we got x minus 5. X plus 5. Done. All right, thumbs up, sideways, down for this. Thumbs up, sideways, down. That's a lot of good thumbs up. Enthusiastic. All right, that's great. So this is all we have to do for the classwork homework. It starts with a couple of these problems. Okay. What we've already done, it starts with this. And you'll see then the last problems, it goes to these kind of going the other direction. Well, it's Monday, so maybe I'll just remind the viewers at home. Remind the viewers at home. You are becoming hypnotized. You will subscribe to my channel. If you do not know and will ever win the Oreos, subscribe. Subscribe on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Subscribe!
You better. You better.